Feeling sluggish with your workouts? Not really knowing how to warm up properly? We're gonna give you 6 exercises in sequential order to help you maximize your muscle. And we're gonna start right now. What the hell does a warm-up even do? So in simple terms, a couple things that the warm-up is going to do is it's going to raise our heart rate. So when our heart rate becomes elevated, then that's gonna lead to a higher body temperature. So now our higher body temperature then leads to triggering specific hormones. And when those hormones get triggered, something like thyroxine is gonna help our muscles slide a little bit more effectively. Then when they slide a little bit more effectively, we're not gonna have as much friction. Then as we have less friction, we start to feel a little bit smoother, a little bit more elastic, and then that's gonna help us wake up our nervous system. So if we work through that warm-up effectively, then that nervous system starts to wake up, and that's gonna help us recruit more high threshold motor units earlier in the workout so that we can start to really be effective with building as much muscle mass as we would like. Our warm-up also plays a role between the athlete and the coach, where they can communicate back and forth on how they feel based off of what they did on the previous day. So if I'm with one of my athletes, I can say, hey, how's your back feel after your warm-up? How do your legs feel as you work through your warm-up? Are you really sore? Is your shoulder sore? Are your chest sore? How are your knees feeling? Now we have a better understanding of the micro impact that each workout takes on the body. So it enables us to take an inventory of our body, communicate that with the coach, but then again, the main thing goes back to those first 4 key factors: increasing our heart rate, raising our body temperature, stimulating those hormones to be released so that we have a little bit more elasticity, and then finally priming that nervous system so that we can really lead into a great workout. To warm up or not to warm up? That is the question. When training under Dr. Anatoly Bondarchuk, we barely ever warmed up. Almost all of our warm-ups were just specific to actually throwing. We wouldn't do skips, we wouldn't do dynamic stretches. We would just get in the circle and start to throw. When training on a time crunch, typically the first thing to go is actually warming up. Now, as I'm getting a little bit older and maybe slightly more mature, I've noticed that I can run a little bit more effectively when I do a proper warm-up. My joints feel better, my knee feels better, my hips feel a little bit more mobilized, and that enables me to have better technique when I'm out running 5 to 6 miles and not dying. Now I've also spent a lot more time around world-class coaches, and especially around someone like the mobility doc, and that has had a massive impact on my view and how I feel about warming up. Man, this is actually really tight. And one of the things that the mobility doc said to me specifically this past year at the World Championships in Eugene is that, hey, if you can warm up effectively, you're going to minimize the amount of friction inside of your body. Now you can be more elastic, you can produce force at a higher rate, and you also, typically when you're warming up, you start to get into that mental zone. You start to really focus on the task at hand. You start to get that sweat going. When you get that sweat going, that can trigger that feeling that something big is about to happen. And that's one of the main reasons why we put simple yet absurdly effective warm-ups inside of our app, Peak Strength. So when we're setting up a warm-up, I like to set it up where we've got our first 2 movements are gonna be the wake-up exercises, okay? And this is what we used recently when we trained 5-star recruit and 4-star recruit Joey Schlaffer and Javen Williams. Javen was the 5-star, the #1 lineman in the entire country. So we started with simple PVC pipe walks. So we're just walking on the PVC. Okay, we're a little unstable, so we might get a little shaky or fall off like that. We're gonna wake up our knees a little, wake up our feet, start to really feel what we're doing. Our nervous system's gonna start to wake up, and that in turn is gonna help stimulate our heart rate. I love using PVC pipes, 5 sets of 15 meters. And you can even make it a competition where you're gonna walk a little bit quicker, stay more on your toes, stay more on your heels, okay? Walk forward, walk backwards. That's gonna be tremendous and easy to do. We're using our PVC pipe here, available at garagestrength.com. And that second exercise that we're gonna do when we're trying to wake up our body is going to be the dive bomber push-up. So this is a movement that we can use to wake up our shoulders, okay, wake up our triceps, our elbows, get good posture, improve our dynamic trunk control. Okay, so we're gonna be here, come down, forward, and then back up. And now I like to even trigger this where it'd be, hey, let's go for 5, 6, 7 second eccentric. So it's nice and slow and controlled. Really, really stimulate each position. Really start to feel that mind-muscle connection. So be here and go nice and slow, 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 slow. You can feel those triceps working, feel those hips lower, and then come back up. Okay, so that's something that I like to do back and forth. We'll do the PVC pipe for 1 set of 15 meters, and we'll come back to those dive bombers for a set of 7 with a really slow eccentric. We go through that 5 times. Our shoulders start to feel pretty good. Our nervous system starts to wake up. We're a little bit more elastic. We're a little bit more fluid. And that leads us into that next group of exercises. Okay, so the next 2 are like the challenging level. Okay, so we go from waking up and then we get into more challenging. And this is gonna be where we can start with a nice band pull part here. Okay, nice and easy. Let's say 10 to 15 reps. And then after we hit that band pull part, we're waking up our rhomboids and our upper back. We're gonna put this overhead, and we wanna establish tension in the band, okay? So we're gonna go here. So now our lats, our rhomboids are squeezing here. Oh my gosh, I'm tight. And I wanna squat that chest forward. Try not to do an overhead squat like Javen Williams. Here. So we're here, have tension in the band, come down, get that butt in between your heels, drive back up. Butt in between your heels, drive back up. Ooh, I can feel that upper back. Ooh, and one of the things that you'll notice inside of that workout with Joey and Javen is that somebody who's taller, okay, so if we've got kids that are in high school and they're 6'6", 6'7", they typically have really immobile hips and ankles because they're just growing into their body still. They might not have finished growing till they're 16 or 17. So parts of their body are still adapting to their height and their limb length and their muscle tone, okay? So one of the things you have to be aware of is you'll start to see a little bit of eversion, inversion in the ankle depending upon where they're tight, where they're not tight. So focus on that and make sure that you can cue them to keep their heels out a little bit more, keep their knees out so they're not caving in. That can play a big role in their hip mobility. Now, the next exercise that we're gonna do is also hard. We're gonna do a split squat on the PVC pipe, okay? So we just did the PVC pipe walks. Now we're heading into that split squat on the pipe. So I wanna see my foot curl over here. That back heel stays up. I wanna try and be as stable as I possibly can. Have that dynamic trunk control so I'm not wobbly all over the place like that. I wanna feel my glutes squeezing and feel my hips being nice and stable, okay? And just being in a unilateral position and on an unstable surface can really, really get everything firing. And you can also see like where someone's a little bit more tight or a little bit more unaware of their surroundings. Hit the band pull parts for 10 to 15. Hit the overhead squats for 7 to 10. Hit the split squats for 7 on each side. Go through that 2 or 3 times. And then that's gonna take us into the last 2 movements that are gonna be a little bit more complicated. The elastic exercises. So we went with the wake up, then we got to the challenging level, now we're on the elastic level, okay? So these are gonna be a little bit more explosive, but go easy. So we can start here. We're gonna start with single leg mini hurdle hops. And if you don't have mini hurdles, you can just do these in place. You can do it up a hill. You can jump in place and raise that knee if you want. So we're here, boom, easy, nice and easy, right? Okay, you go through on the left leg, then you come back through on the right leg. Boom, 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 boom. So that's the first exercise. Go through, don't worry about how quick you are. Just worry about being elastic. And you can superset that. So one of my favorite ones to try and wake up the hips is we're here, boom, pause, pause, pause. No stutter stepping. Pause, pause. You saw me stutter step to my right. One of the things that we did when we were warming up with Joey and Javen is you could see Javen struggles to that left side. So now that can start to inform you as a coach. He might have a weakness on that left side, or we might have an issue, and that might be his weak side when he's in his stance. So we've got to try and strengthen it as much as we can and just be aware, or warm it up more effectively. And that's where the next time you come through this, you should go through this 2 or 3 times. That's when we can start to focus on shorter ground contact. So here, boom, 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 okay? And then back, boom, boom, boom. And then we can go from the pauses here. So we got a pause, well now we go here. Okay, so you can get a little bit more interesting, build that up, but you don't want it to be so complicated that you're too fatigued when you're heading into your workout. You want something that, like what's happening right now, I'm a little out of breath, okay? I'm raising my heart rate. Everything's really getting warmed up, I'm getting stimulated, and that's gonna help me develop maximum muscle. So you can use this warm up today when you go to the gym and you're trying to maximize your muscle. And if you want to improve your overall understanding of sports performance, make sure you click on the link down below. You can pick up our free course to help you become a better sports performance coach. And if you want another option for a warm up, check out this video right here. Because remember, freaks, if you want to become a champion, you've always got to cultivate your power. Peace.